going to see Flandre bringing that Jayce out in the top lane, does exceptionally well against Ornn during the laning phase, can just shove him in. But the thing I'm just most excited about is that Lux in the bottom lane alongside the Aphelios for life. This is going to be a curious old matchup.
Yeah, so basically the way that this bot lane matchup is going to work is Iwandy has a bit of CC, but a lot of poke to answer for the Bard. And although Bard can do relatively well, he doesn't actually have a huge amount of poke himself, especially since a lot of people moved over towards the Guardian, away from what was originally, way back when we first saw Bard in the meta, was the Electrocute Bard, where you get a good amount of poke damage off. This time around, though, you can get a good amount of answer back from this Lux. Plus, you've got long range, you've got a bunch of shields and stuff now that can provide a bit more sustain towards this Aphelios. So it looks like it could work out pretty well in that bottom side of the map for LNG.
We'll see what LNG are going to be able to do with this pickup, and especially with that Twisted Fate, where they're going to be moving around the map. Maple has played 4 games of the Twisted Fate so far this split. Certainly not been his most played or his best pick, but across the LPL in general, his Twisted Fate has been exceptionally high priority as of recently. But as well, on the other side of the board, Rogue Warriors, they're going to be feeling good. Certainly the favorite in this matchup with their recent performances. So I'm hoping we can see the win-streaking Rogue Warriors as opposed to what we saw in the most recent series.
It'll be tough for Rogue Warriors though here, because the way that the composition that LNG have here is trying to play it through side lanes more or less. You've got the Flandre and this Jayce that should be able to dictate the pace that side lane against Holder. Same when you look at the ability of Maple to get out and influence the map early on this Twisted Fate. If you can have LNG get off to a nice early start, they can very much run away with this game. The issue, of course, is that's the struggle for LNG. LNG haven't quite been able to get these early roams off, quite been able to get themselves these gold leads that give themselves a nice mid-game. So I want to see now with this composition that LNG have, where they can try and make these map plays, to have them at that 6-minute mark, getting Maple out of the lane, getting into these side lanes, and influencing the game positively for LNG.
Well, we talked about the Spellbook nerf. They don't care. There's 3 of them with Spellbook in this game, both of the mid laners and the Ornn that we were talking about before, especially in a matchup against a ranged champion. You never really get to use a grasp.
I know you do have the Unsealed Spellbook but for Wuming, but usually when you see the Ignite, you're thinking more of the Electrocute, but it is a case here of, hey, look, Wuming realizes I'm going to need to be in a side lane against Maple. I need to have access to a bunch of these Summoner Spell cooldowns, but even... it's still weird to me that he doesn't opt into the teleport with the Unsealed Spellbook rather than the Ignite.
So we are going to see the Guardian in the bottom side for Iwandy. Obviously, this support looks... I mean, this is the rune you should run. I know a lot of the support luxes you've seeded solo queue are not going to be running Guardian, but this is how you actually play it as a support.
Yeah, and there was an argument way back when for doing something like the Summonary, but with those buffs, the Guardians on 10-11, I think it was, it just makes sense to go with the Guardian here. That shield is so large. And of course, so for Iwandy here, the beauty is what we highlighted in 10-15, because you're going to be going for the poke support item. Oh, actually, he didn't. I was going to say if he goes for the poke support item, the Spell Thief's Edge line, he gets the extra 25% mana regen, which actually gives you 5 AP more when you get that at Queens of Holy Grail. So it kind of synergizes nicely there, but it doesn't matter. He's just gone for the I'm going to farm item instead.
It does make me scratch my head a little bit, though, because there are a lot of supports, and there were a lot of supports available in this game, in this draft. And when you think about Lux support, you think about the poke aspects, right? She's not the best support in terms of shielding. She's not the best support in terms of CC. So the fact that they're going for the Guardian and the farming item, that would suggest like defensive lane play. But then it also brings up the question of why Lux in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, even when we saw Lux originally, actually I'm going to hold on to this point because Maple?
I think he's going to be all right. Dodges the trouble bubble. Wanders away. Talk to me about Lux, Dagda.
So originally when we saw Lux, it was into some of the more aggressive picks in the bottom lane, like the Alistairs and these kind of things, where you would be able to shut them down. You'd have the CC to stop them from engaging, good amount of poke, and also having the shields and stuff where you could, even if they get in on top of you, you're still relatively okay, but you can play at range. The thing is, when you're playing against lane ZWuJi, they're already playing at range.
We've got a bit of a battle, though, for the Scuttle Crab right now, as the slow's going to come through from XX. Haro getting bullied out of his jungle, but it's going to be Chase. Phase Rush is real strong in these kinds of scenarios, and Haymaker to finish things off. Solo kill for first blood.
And the thing was, although Haro would have loved to have taken that duel, he's not able to because Maple's moving across first. He's got way more access to that lane, and already, good start here, coming through for LNG.
I thought that they were going to be able to follow up on that one. The Arcane Shift at the last possible second from ZWuJi there. Still got bound, but he got out of the play. ZWuJi survives for now, but you can kind of see some of the logic now, especially if you can get that long-range Graviton. There's a ton of follow-up from Iwandy.
Definitely so. The only thing is that it's going to be a little bit hard for Iwandy to have a huge amount of poke because you're lacking the AP damage that comes from the spell team set. You do have a little bit, don't get me wrong, onto the current support item that he has, but it's just not quite the same. You can't throw out as many spells because you don't have that mana regen, so you very quickly start to churn through that mana bar when you're tossing out all these spells. But with the lane state in the way it is, and especially because you've got the healing on lay, you're not going to be able to have a huge amount of that poke stick. So I kind of understand that, hey look, I'm rather than trying to do a lot of work with this poke, I'm just instead going to try and farm up and help shove the wave and control the lane state that way.
Yeah, also, obviously, as we just witnessed, a lot of pressure to play around those brushes and punish people if they step out too far into the lane. And we're going to see Light and Iwandy just force this one in time and time again. They're looking for an early turret plate, if they'd be able to grab that one, but not quite on this minion wave at the very least. I'm kind of surprised at how aggressively they're able to push, but you can see they already have vision because of that Skull Crab and a Ward from Tribe.
So the thing is, in the early stages, Light and Iwandy actually have a good amount of poke, or good amount of push, because Iwandy's got access, usually starts with his E, so able to shove the wave a little bit. And because Light as well will have the Infernum, he's just able to shove pretty effectively. But LNG now moving in here to try and see what they can do.
Iwandy's just winning 1v1 right now. Pulls Lay out of the journey. That was nice there. Light grabs the kill in the end. Had to flash for it though.
This is really good proactivity coming through from LNG. This is what I wanted to see from LNG for so long. It's just unfortunate that, well, it's when they're out of that playoff contention that they're starting to show what magic they can do. XX now able to start up towards this dragon because there is no Bard here to try and support the Ezreal in the bottom lane, and LNG looking good to begin things. Almost a 1,500 gold lead for them.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors not got much to say about it so far. Haro on this Olaf pick, really not having much of a shoe in the early game at very least, which is when you'd expect this Olaf pick to kind of be coming into its own.
Well, it is thanks to that early play from XX, getting in, killing him, making sure the Olaf was actually behind on plays. So you got a little bit more leeway here as XX, who once again is in the enemy side of the jungle. And good job by Iwandy here to set this play up, getting in off of that push in the bottom lane. And now that bottom jungle control goes over to LNG again. So now you know as Haro has to be on that top side. And as Flandre, you're fine, because honestly, you're shoved underneath the turret at the moment. Holder doesn't really get an opportunity to try and kill you or even set up for a gank too much with the lane of position it is. So LNG are playing well around this map.
Yeah, I mean, Flandre is more than happy. He gets to start this lane with a cull. He gets to go for that Mana Moon ASAP. He's happy to just stack up in the early game and just find those advantages. Speaking of advantages, XX snags that Scuttle Crab for himself. Very cheeky indeed.
And then gets to use Nimbus Cloak as well to just run away. So it's not even like you can try and catch him. So fantastic start here for XX. And okay, so let's look at where this game is going to go. Because for Rogue Warriors side, they're still waiting a little bit of time before they really ramp up. You're waiting for the Ezreal 2-item spikes to come in, Wuming to get that Luden's Echo, plus more. So you've still got a little bit of time before Rogue Warriors really are going to be trying to contest some of these objectives. And as LNG, who we pointed out at the start, want to be getting off the bat quickly, getting these goals into the favor, they've started off really well. So now as Maple, as you've hit that level 6 mark, this is where I want to see you get active. Now you have the opportunity to try and make moves, or could just be playing around this mid lane instead.
XX steals yet another camp and then zips out with his phase rush there. Oh, not his phase rush, sorry, his Nimbus Cloak. And he's going to be able to return back to his own jungle. This one will be given over to Maple, so he can continuously just shove that wave out in the mid lane. And it's so important against a Zoe specifically as well, being able to maintain that mid lane push, being able to contest the wave in at least some way.
Especially as a Twisted Fate, not only because, well, obviously you want to contest the wave in every mid lane matchup, but you need to be the one controlling it to get out of this lane. And at the moment, Maple hasn't been particularly active. I thought we might we might have seen him try to chug a bunch of those corrupting pots, shove the wave, and then try and make it back into lane, so he has that mana. But looks like with that blue buff, he just wants to stick around here anyway. Let's see if he can just slowly but surely regain that mana and then work with XX onto a play. At the moment, it looks like top side of the map, but I'd honestly prefer to see it in the bottom lane.
Yeah, we'll see what that first Twisted Fate play will be this game. And, you know, quite often in games when we see Twisted Fate, you see a bit of a quiet start to things, and often they don't just force a play at level 6, even if you want them to, even if it seems to make sense. But then there's suddenly a moment at some point in the game in the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes where everything kicks off. They find a way onto the map. They find a way to force a play.
It just would have been good to try and do that while Lei didn't have access to the exhaust. To use that in that play where XX invaded into the jungle. So now you're kind of missing out on your opportunities. Lei also has access to that Tempered Fate, which is a big anti-play for the Twisted Fate, because as you start to TP in, you can just have the bar toss that down on where you're about to arrive. So it makes things a little bit less manageable for LNG and trying to make plays bot side. And trying to kill Hodor in the top lane is going to take a lot of work, so I'm not entirely sure they'd be able to go towards that play either. So Maple's kind of shutting down his opportunities now with not quite being able to get out of lane at the time he wanted.
So I want to ask for a moment here about this style of gameplay we're going to see out of Rogue Warriors. Is they're going to be able to grab this health for themselves, because you can see XX on the bottom side of the map here. Complete vision for LNG. They know this is going on, but there's no way for them to contest, as Light will grab himself to the turret place instead. But when we look at this composition for Rogue Warriors, you've got the Ezreal and the Zoe, which when you think about that, you think long range, you think poke, you think keep them away at all costs. When you think about Ornn and Olaf, those champions seem like go-in champions to me. They look like they want to fight. So how does this actually operate in a late game?
Well, it's kind of a why not both scenario, right? You can have this poke come through from Ezreal, you can have the poke come through from Zoe, and when you either push someone out or you get a good advantage for yourself, that's when you get the go button, just like in topside right now.
Flandre takes a good chunk of damage, but he's going to be fine. Iwandy arrives, and the Tempered Fate didn't actually hit the turret, so all things considered, I'd take that as a win as Flandre. However, there is a Herald still going down. He's bought time, though, for the first turret to be taken by Light in the bottom lane.
And that's all that matters. This turret won't even be taken off of this Rift Herald. They can pick this off, and there's nothing that Rogue Warriors can do. So LNG finding the push advantage.
ZWuJi got a bonus play there off the back of that one. I thought that was doomed, but there you go. Another 80 gold for him. I thought he was excited anyway.
Yeah. Either way, though, I just want to have a look at Iwandy's build this game, because he's going towards the Ardent Sensor. So as painful as you've looked at Aphelios in the past, now add all this magic damage per auto attack, all that good jazz, and how often he auto attacks in these fights, especially with chakrams, and just think about how much more painful this thing has become. So as that go-in button that you pointed out, Rogue Warrior, or Munch, for Rogue Warrior's side, that's going to be a little bit held off just because of how much damage Light can churn out when he gets these shields coming in from Iwandy.
And it goes into that conversation as well of how to play against Aphelios, right? You don't generally want to run at Aphelios. He wants that. That is his comfort zone. So the Zoe and the Ezreal definitely lend towards the style of just playing out of his range, playing away from the Aphelios. And there's a good amount of ways to force you to fight from the side of LNG as well with this Twisted Fate. With Sett, if he can get a flank, managing to pull his ult onto someone, there are ways to make that happen. Rogue Warriors, though, second time in a row now, just going to wander on towards a neutral objective, and LNG not even close to contesting.
No, and you even get the Destiny out there from Maple just to see, hey, look, where are these guys? The thing is, LNG are the ones that needed to ramp up the pressure when they were getting control of the map, where Maple would be able to use that Destiny to make these plays. And now you've seen a Destiny that literally gets nothing except for a couple of turret plates. This is not the way LNG were trying to snowball this game. And now you're looking at the Rogue Warriors, who actually scale better, slowing down the pace of the game. And although that gold lead is slightly in favor of LNG and has grown that little bit in the last few minutes, it's not the worst for Rogue Warriors.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of turret plates, LNG definitely ahead right now. And XX has just been caught out with the Tempered Fate. ZWuJi gets himself the blue buff and completely whiffs the ult, but XX is going to use Haro to get out of the play. Call of the Forge God will find the knock in the end, so the Haymaker already on cooldown means they will get the pick in the end.
So Rogue Warriors kind of miss a fair few of those plays, but at least they managed to get the kill onto XX. And again, this is just slowing down the pace of the game, getting some goal back in their favor. And with XX not on the map, it makes it a little bit more difficult for LNG to make these plays that can solidify them advantages or these towers and side lanes.
So all things considered, it's Rogue Warriors that get a pick there. They're the ones in control of the neutral objectives generally so far this game, but LNG were the ones to get the first tower. They're the ones definitely ahead when it comes to the plate gold, and that's where the majority of this gold you can see in their lead has come from as well. But my question now is, what on earth are we going to see out of April? This guy, he's a historic mid laner. This is a guy with a ton of international experience. This is a guy that you expect more from. And on this Twisted Fate pick so far, we've seen one Destiny, and it was just like a, okay, am I safe? Can I just keep pushing in the side lane?
Look, I'm not sure what I'm going to tell you, because Maple, this is the problem that I have with LNG and why they're sitting in 16th place is we can see little flashes. We can see XX making these plays on Sett, trying to use the advantages that Maple has as lane state, working great. But then when we get to the mid game, they're kind of like, okay, well, we're just going to sit back and farm. And against the composition that Rogue Warriors have drafted, LNG need to be the ones ramping up the pace, not slowing down. And Rogue Warriors are the ones that are, as you can see, trying to make picks, trying to make plays happen, and it's them who are getting the advantages.
Yeah, it's going to be a flash force from Maple as well, so there's potential to make a future play on there. Rogue Warriors will finally get themselves their first turret, but LNG looking to answer in the mid lane. I don't think they're going to be able to actually find themselves a turret, but you can see also Flandre over on the bottom side of the map is going to continuously crash these waves into the tower.
Yeah, he will be able to chip away at this turret, especially as Hoder hasn't made his way down, so Flandre at least getting some decent work. The issue, though, is that this is never going to be, well, not never, this is something LNG won't be able to exploit for quite a while, because they still need to get that top lane turret down, they still need to get this mid lane turret down, because if Flandre ever tries to extend far enough where he's threatening that inhibitor turret, it's just giving the opportunity for Rogue Warriors to collapse super easily. Although,
Flandre's found himself a sleepy lay in the jungle, and that is the power of a serrated Dirk right there, my friends.
that was a lot of damage very quickly, and Lay just kind of getting caught out, not realizing that Flandre is missing, and especially coming up from that bottom lane, gets caught.
Yeah, unfortunate for the caretaker there in the jungle. Thought he could get away with it. He could not. And the thing about Lay is when we see him on his Thresh, absolutely insane. When we see him on the Sett, sometimes runs it down a bit, but sometimes absolutely wins the game by himself. On the Bard, so far, not that impressive this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's tried to set up a couple of plays, but
that's the key word, right? Tried to.
Well, we haven't seen much action this game in general, right? We're sitting at 4 kills at 16 minutes. Like, that is not the massive KD spread that we expect to see sometimes in the LPL.
And especially from Rogue Warriors, right?
Exactly, yeah. And it just kind of speaks volumes to Rogue Warriors realizing what the condition is. And you can even see it from Holder's build. He's not even going towards magic resist. He's just like, look, I can go Iceborne Gauntlet. The damage I need to worry about here is all 80.
Flandre going to stay on the bottom side, grabs himself the tier 2, but he has TP available. And it looks like Rogue Warriors are going to be able to grab themselves the Herald. No contest here from LNG. They're happy to trade a tier 2 tower in the bottom lane for that Herald. Flandre just going to continue with the split push play, apparently.
It is surprising that Holder's not defending this bottom lane turret. Like, I know he's holding on to the Ghost and the Flash, but still, the ability for Rogue Warriors to take these fights or even like throw out a Tempered Fate, bait out the TP and then disengage and give time for Holder to join is pretty high. They're losing these structures and they're losing waves in the bottom lane for no real reason at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't find themselves that fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the teleport is up underneath that Ghost as well for Holder, but I could be wrong with that. But it's, as you can see, I mean, the swing and a miss from the ulti as well. But now you kind of need to start going Rogue Warriors, okay, it's fine if you're losing the tower. It's not going to mean too much, but you're about to lose your top lane tower to the wave that's there. And now this is becoming an issue.
Hang on, though, because LNG are not actually in a position to fight this just yet. In they go, though. XX finding the fight with everyone. Haymaker across the team, but he gets out with his life as well. Maple moved into the play. And now Light's in a position where he's got a lot of enemies with not much health, and he's got Infernum available. ZWuJi, the first target that just gets deleted. Now onto the rest of the squad goes Maple. Gold card onto Lay. XX over the wall. He don't care about the dragon. He wants himself some kills. Down goes Haro. And the rest of the Rogue Warriors will have to flee with their tails between their legs.
they're still going. Lights flashed forward here.
Yeah, maybe they don't get to flee whether they want to or not, because Flandre might have the damage to finish. Wuming as well. Hold it over the wall. Flandre's not letting him go anywhere. Gets him with the electro field.
And that's 4 kills now that have gone over to Flandre super quick. Dragon as well will go the way of LNG. Unfortunately for them, Baron's not up because they could actually turn towards it, and Rogue Warriors could not have played that fight worse. Like,
I agree. I agree, Doctor.
It's
the thing is, right, when we looked at the most recent series, Rogue Warriors, you expected them to be able to win their more recent series, and the problem was they just didn't fight very much. They didn't fight anywhere much as they needed to.
But the thing is, look how spread out this fight is. Hodor doesn't have ult, so he can't go with the Call of the Forge God. You've got members stuck in the pit of Rogue Warriors and who don't actually take out that magical journey. So then LNG can just run at them continuously, and fair dues for XX in setting up this fight. He's the one that got caught by the Tempered Fate, but Rogue Warriors were so uncoordinated they actually couldn't get the pick to work, and then they're caught between a rock and a hard place.
I love that Flandre as well. Gets the unofficial quadra here, double to double. Beautiful stuff from him. 5-0-1 right now, and he's 3 items strong. Already got that Muramana fully stacked, got himself a Ghost Blade, and then gets himself some Armor Pen on top of everything else. So Flandre feeling pretty fantastic. That's another strength of that looks pick we were talking about, by the way. You can definitely clear waves.
Rift Arrow will be dropped to mid. They'll try to crack open this turret. Should be able to do so if they manage to push up here. Yeah, LNG are not going to try and force things. Instead, they're going to try to trade on this top lane. And although we often think, hey, look, mid lane is much harder to crack open, it's much more valuable to trade mid for top. With the way that LNG's composition wants to play, with Maple and Flandre trying to have pressure in side lanes and having that Destiny available, the side lane structures are actually far more important for LNG to knock down, and losing a mid lane turret isn't too bad.
And also, LNG already have the enemy mid lane turret.
Exactly.
So it's not like they need to prioritize right now. They're already 2 towers ahead for themselves. So trading, they're going to be okay with that one. Flandre and XX, they want Holder right now. He's not got a flash available. He's going to be on exhaust from his spell book. It's going to be a Tempered Fate to keep him safe for a moment, but the Haymaker's going to go wide. That means XX could be the one in trouble. No, he doesn't. Flandre's got the Shock Blast. That's another kill going their way. Maple flashes forward to try and get onto Lei, but he had himself that Mikhail's to keep him safe as Light moves away. Takes a bit of a blast from Wuming, but kind of disappointing damage from a Zoe.
A little bit. However, LNG now do have control of this bottom side. I wasn't sure if they wanted to just try and force the numbers here, because they do have a decent amount of poke with Flandre and with Maple, but not confident that they can try and hold on to the wave. Instead, going to look to try and crack open this mid lane structure.
This is feeling very convincing from LNG, which is not something that I've been able to say many times this split, Dagda. I'm excited for this LNG once again. I feel like this is what we saw way back in like week 2 when they beat FBX, when they beat RNG. This is the vision of the team that we got to see.
And that's why it's so strange to now see it coming into almost our last week, that this is the time when LNG start to rise up, really feel confident in their play. But unfortunately for them, it's a little bit too late. I mean, they're still 16th.
Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe it's like, all right, well, the game doesn't really matter anymore. Let's just play. Wuming is going to be the target of that just play right here. Gets taken down by the Facebreaker. XX is going to be traded by Haro, but I can't really follow on too much on this one. Holder realizes he's got to just get out of here. These Shock Blasts are doing a whole lot of work. Flandre, I don't think he's done just yet. ZWuJi steps forward, but he's got to be a little bit careful on this one.
Flandre is so massive right now, and especially because he's got that Manamune, he's going to be totally fine, or Muramana even now, topped up when it comes to that mana pool. So here's the TP as LNG just looking to continuously force this issue, with Holder actually separate on the top side.
Maple running at the speed of light. He's got his Nikes on, but not going to be able to find a kill off the back of it. But he does have himself that Zeal, so you can see he'll go for the rapid fire cannon next. And that opens up even more pick opportunities in case LNG didn't already have enough.
Lei's already lost half his health bar just as this dragon is going to spawn in 50 seconds. You already see the resets coming in from LNG, so they're prepared for this. That'll add the third dragon to LNG if they're able to pick this one up, although, as I say, that Light a little bit late in his reset.
Yeah, going to be a tad late here. It's not the end of the world if it's just the AD carry, but it's not just the AD carry. That's 2 of them resetting here at the same time. Maple and Light. Luckily for them, XX is at the pit. He's setting up some vision already. Flandre is going to be able to clear the wave mid. Now they can all return to the play. But also, Rogue Warriors not really in a position financially to be able to force it.
Well, the thing here is that because Rogue Warriors are faster to this river, they have control. You can see they're now looking for a pick, and this is where it gets a little bit dicey because LNG, apart from XX, aren't actually that tanky, and XX is completely separated from the rest of the team.
The only thing is, I feel like Rogue Warriors, with the fact that they are 9,000 gold down at 23 minutes, even if they get a pick, I'm pretty sure LNG wins a 4v5. We're going to see if I'm right there, as Light just about gets away with his life. XX pulls everybody in, and Flandre, he knows what he can do. Flashes into the backline and forces everyone away, but a trouble bubble means he might actually go down himself. No, he won't. Never mind. Double kill for him. Dagda, this is over.
This is very much over. As you said, look, now a 10,000 gold lead. We're 24 minutes into the game. Baron for LNG off that play as well, and Rogue Warriors misplaying a lot of these fights, not able to coordinate properly, and look at the results. I mean, they are just getting decimated by LNG.
Give me my week 7 Rogue Warriors back. Where did it go? Where did the magic go? LNG, though, hey, they're looking pretty fantastic. They got themselves an 11,000 gold lead.
This is all part of the curse.
Hang on.
This is how they keep them in third.
Oh, no, ZWuJi, you can't do this fast enough. Oh, he's in so much trouble. Has to jump out of the pit. I think he realized that this was not going to end well for him.
Yeah, he's gone, and LNG come in, say thank you very much for the leash.
Come on, ZWuJi, let's see it. Ah, it's too early. Never mind. Okay.
They say thank you very much for the leash. LNG will grab it. Baron, third dragon. Now that play that we're talking about and playing off through side lanes with a 9-0-2 Flandre and a Twisted Fate. 007 smooth agent there for Maple. This is really hard for Rogue Warriors to try and defend.
Yeah, they need more than a pick at this point. They need a miracle. It was a good trouble bubble, but Wuming traded his own entire alpha.
But the problem is, this is the coordination problem. You get the trouble bubble into a tempered fate as you get the Ezreal ult flinging across, so you don't actually get that damage. And it just means, okay, well, now we've bought time for the Aphelios to flash away. Light is totally fine, and it's this coordination that I'm talking about for Rogue Warriors in this game has just not come into play.
To be fair, it was a stopwatch, not a tempered fate.
Oh,
the tempered fate was later. But I'm definitely on the same page. Like, there was still a trouble bubble, and there was no follow-up. Light got away with his life. Oh well. Here we are, Dagda. 25 minutes and 45 seconds. Who would have thought it? Not me, that's for sure. Flandre sidesteps everything. That's going to be a tempered fate that misses as well. I'm going to go back to a point I brought up earlier that Lay, get him back on the thresh, please. Get him on the set, get him on anything. I don't know, just not this part, please. This was a first pick Bard. This was first pick, Dagda.
And now LNG are pushing this bottom lane. It's why we've seen a little bit of a mix-up at 9:15. Bard priority or Twisted Fate priority. Well, I'm giving it to Twisted Fate in this game. Although Maple hasn't had the biggest of impacts, this Bard has not quite worked out for them. Now Rogue Warriors are sitting in a spot that nobody wants to be in, but they're basically just seeing each other.
Oh my goodness. Haro is like next to him, next to is in him, and he's just getting annihilated from range. Like, how do you get close to this team? Like, you're against Ezreal Zoe. You're not meant to be winning the poke war, but they don't care. They've got this Flandre on Jayce that is just annihilating health bars. Maple doing the same. Light following up with a Calibrum. It's not getting any easier for Rogue Warriors. Honestly, if you're Rogue Warriors right now, you're looking towards Game 2. You're looking towards how to change things in this series.
Especially as Lay swinging a miss once again. So now with 3 waves pushing in, you can already see one on the face. Maple TPing into bot side to go for this 0-3-2, and there goes another tower. All these inhibitor structures are now gone. There
goes Haro's health bar once more as he's going to have to go back to the fountain. This will be the triple inhib. And hey, LNG doing this one by the book. And this is going to be a sub 30-minute win by the looks of things, unless they do decide to recall and reset. But I personally don't think they need to. But we've seen teams be safer than this in the past. Moonlight Vigil comes in. Haro, once again, will go down before he gets to the fountain this time. Call of the Forge God does basically nothing. And this is going to be that. This is going to be an easy old win for LNG. Destiny comes through. Wuming going to be pushed back with the Graviton. In with the Showstopper. XX wants to find the play. He's finally going to force it for himself. Health bars will bleed on down. Rogue Warriors survive, but LNG have done it. Game number 1. A bit of a stomp out of LNG.
Not even a bit of a stomp. That was a
lot of a